When everything finally breaks, most people will run toward the exact places most likely to get them killed. Not because they are stupid. Because they are trained. Movies, news, public service announcements, even well-meaning emergency plans have drilled certain instincts into you. Go to the store. Go to the gas station. Go to the shelter. Go to the hospital. Go to the city center. In normal short-term crises, those instincts are fine. In a real, prolonged collapse where the grid stays down, fuel is not moving, and supply chains are shattered, those exact places turn into killing grounds. Cramped, exposed, empty of what you need. Full of exactly the kind of desperation you do not want to be standing next to. This is not about fear, it is about map reading. Today, we are going to walk through 8 places in almost every American town that become death zones when SHTF. If you know them in advance, you will not be the one sprinting toward the glowing sign with everyone else. You will already be gone or already somewhere smarter. Place 1, the supermarket slaughter box. When people feel threat, their first instinct is food. They think we need groceries before it gets bad. So they go where the food was yesterday. The big store. You have seen it before during small events. Storm warnings, blizzard alerts, short-term blackouts, shelves stripped, carts piled high, lines around the buildings. That is with power, credit cards, working registers, deliveries still inbound, and a clear end in sight. Now imagine the same rush in a real SHTF scenario. No card readers working, limited or no lighting inside, no restocking trucks on the way, no police able to respond to every call. On day 1, the supermarket is a panic box. On day 2, it is a stripped shell with angry, exhausted people still coming through the doors looking for things that are not there. On day 3, it is a giant empty space with broken glass, no waters, no working bathrooms, people who did not get enough anywhere else. You are not going to stock up. You are walking into a room full of hungry, frightened strangers with nothing to lose. The math is simple. If you do not already have food at home when it happens, you are late. The supermarket is not your plan, it is everyone's plan. And that is exactly why it stops being safe almost immediately. Place 2, the gas station pressure cooker. Second instinct, we have to fill up before we leave. Most people's entire survival fantasy depends on a full tank of gas. So they do what they always do. They drive to the gas station. For minor outages, you get mild scenes. Lines a few cars deep. People grumbling. Maybe a little pushing. In a deeper event, card readers might be down. Pumps might not work without power. Deliveries might already be delayed. Gas stations are small. A handful of parking spaces. A couple of doors. One cramped store space filled with high-margin junk food and a small amount of actual supplies. Now imagine 20, 30, 50 cars trying to squeeze in at once. Drugs, parents with kids in the back, people with their entire escape plan in the trunk. Pumps get blocked. Someone cuts in line. Somebody else loses their temper. One fight turns into 5. One gun pulled turns into 10 more hands reaching for something. And this is all for a commodity that runs out quickly, cannot be conjured on the spot, will not be resupplied reliably in a real infrastructure failure. Best case, you waste critical time and attention for a few gallons. Worst case, you get caught in a crowd that goes from anxious to violent in seconds. If you live anywhere that can be hit by a major event, your tank should not live at almost empty. Normal life baseline should be at least half full. If the first thing you think when the grid goes down is we need to get to the gas station, you have already made your first mistake. Place 3, the big hospital that runs out of miracles. We are trained from births. If something is seriously wrong, go to the hospital. For a single injured person in a functioning system, that is correct. In a citywide or regional collapse, that reflex turns the hospital into one of the worst places you can be. On a normal day in a big hospital, beds are already near capacity. Emergency rooms are full. Staff are stretched thin with power, computers, and supply chains working. Add a major long-term grid failure or disaster. People injured in accidents caused by traffic lights failing. People hurt in fights and stampedes. People with existing conditions whose home medical gear stopped working. People whose nursing homes and clinics had to dump patients somewhere. They all converge on the same few big buildings. Yes, hospitals have backup generators. How long do they last without fuel resupply? Yes, they have stockpiled supplies. How long do those stretch when an entire metro area is leaning on them at once? Inside, at first, you have overworked staff trying their best, triage in hallways, waiting rooms crammed shoulder to shoulder. Then, supplies get short. Security gets overwhelmed. Air conditioning, if it is working, starts failing when backup systems strain. Outside, parking lots fill. Ambulances line up. People start being turned away or left unattended. The hospital is still where all the most desperate, sick, and injured people are. It is not where help is guaranteed. In true SHTF, your first line of defense is not, "We will just go to the hospital." It is not getting injured. Not being in crowds that generate injury. Having a basic medical kit and skills at home or wherever you are going. Hospitals in a collapse become massive targets, emotionally loaded and physically dangerous. Place 4, the official shelter. Your local authorities have emergency plans. They list designated shelters. Schools, gyms, community centers. On paper, it makes sense. Bring people to one place. Distribute resources. Maintain orders. In small, short emergencies, this can work. In a wide, deep collapse, those buildings become magnets for every vulnerable person in range. Elderly with no one else. Parents with kids and no supplies. People with chronic problems and no backup. Helpers and staff will do what they can. But the math is ugly. Too many people. Not enough food, water, or medicine. No guarantee of continued support from anywhere else. At the same time, every shelter becomes a known point on the maps, a listed location on public announcements, a place where anyone looking to cause trouble or take from others knows there will be crowds and chaos. It is a concentration of people with minimal defenses and maximum need. If you walk in there with a loaded bug-out bag and a week of supplies on your back, you are not anonymous. You are a walking resupply box everyone around you can see. Official does not mean safe in deep crisis. If you have no other options, sometimes a shelter is better than the street. But if your plan is, "We will just go to the shelter if it gets bad," that plan assumes someone else has solved every problem for you. They have not. Place 5, the bridge chokepoints. Bridges feel like escape. You stand on one side of a river, bay, or inlet, and you can see a way on the other side. In reality, bridges are the definition of a choke point. Narrow, exposed, few lanes, nowhere to go if something blocks your way. In crisis, everyone with the same idea ends up there. This is bad enough in car traffic, jams, and accidents. On foot, it is worse. You are in a long line of bodies over open water or deep gaps. If someone up front panics, pushes, or falls, waves ripple through the crowd. You can be shoved sideways over a low barrier, and there is no getting back up. Authorities know this. In many historical crises, one of the first control moves has been shut down bridges, restrict access, control who moves and when. They are not doing that because they hate you. They are doing it because there is no way to safely let 4 million people flood onto half a dozen structures at once. If your escape route is, "We will just cross that big bridge everyone uses," you need a new plan. In real SHTF, those structures are fragile bottlenecks, not freedom. Place 6, the city center protest field. When people are angry or scared, they move towards symbols. City Hall, Main Square, police headquarters, news stations. They go there for answers, leadership, someone to blame, someone to fix it. In small protests in normal times, that energy is controlled by barricades, police presence, Media framing. In collapse, none of that scales. You can have thousands of people in a tight area with no real information. Rumors spreading faster than any official message. Groups with totally different agendas in the same place. Weapons in the crowd, whether obvious or not. One spark is all it takes. A rumor that they are hiding food inside. A shout that someone has been hurt or killed. One person throwing something. And you are in a crush of bodies with no clean exits. Central spaces are designed to gather people. They are not designed to discharge them safely in panic. If you're standing in a crowd in front of some building waiting for someone on a balcony or microphone to tell you what is happening, you are in the worst possible place to shape your own fate. You cannot hear clearly. You cannot see clearly. You cannot move freely. Your best information in SHTF will not come from being in a mob. It will come from watching quietly from a distance, listening to multiple sources, and protecting your own mobility. Place 7. The Dead Mall and Big Box Graveyard. Malls and giant standalone stores feel like fortresses. Thick walls, few entrances, huge parking lots. People think, we can hole up there. We can loot what is left. We can barricade it and be safe. Look closer. These structures are designed to be wide open inside, packed with glass on the front, served entirely by external deliveries. Once the initial wave of panic buyers and looters strips anything easy to grab. Food courts empty, shelves bare, storage rooms cleared or locked. What is left? Dark echoing hallways, broken glass, blind corners, dozens of hidden spots for people to hide, ambush, or sleep. You do not have a fortress. You have a maze. If you think you and a few friends are going to take over a mall and live like kings, remember. Every other desperate group within driving distance has had the same fantasy. Empty lots and big roofs are not security. They are giant, visible markers for anyone scouting for resources. You want small, controllable spaces with few entrances and no reason for strangers to wander through. Not 100,000 square feet of darkness everyone in the county can see from the highway. Place 8. The place you think of as neutral ground. There is one more category that is more dangerous than all the rest because almost nobody recognizes it as a threat. Any place where you tell yourself, everyone is in the same boat here. Surely people will behave. No one would do anything bad in front of their kids, neighbors, congregation, coworkers. This might be a church, a school, a community hall, a popular park, a workplace meeting point. These are places we emotionally code as safe, civil, and predictable. In a prolonged breakdown, what changes is not the walls. It is the people inside. Kind, calm, generous behavior is easy when fridges are full, paychecks arrive, medicine can be refilled, police show up when you dial. Take those away for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Put people in a shared space with crying children, no privacy, limited food and water, no clear end dates. Watch how fast old grudges resurface. Leadership struggles start. Strong personalities push weaker ones aside. Fair distribution turns into, I need this more than you. You cannot assume that a place that felt safe before collapse keeps those rules under collapse. You also cannot assume that nobody would ever do that here. Means anything when someone is staring at a hungry child and sees you with a full pack. Neutral ground is only neutral when the system above it is strong. Once that disappears, there is no neutral. There is only people with more, people with less, people deciding what they are willing to do about that. What you should do instead. Knowing where not to go is half the battle. The other half is having somewhere better to be. 3 simple principles. 1. Start where you are. If you are home when something big happens, your first move is not to sprint blindly to a public place. It is to lock your doors, check your people, check your own supplies, gather information quietly. 2. Move early, move sideways. If your plan involves leaving a danger zone, you do not wait until sirens, crowds, and official bulletins scream that it is time. By then, everyone is trying to use the same roads and the same places. You move in the first hour when others are still refreshing their phones and hoping it comes back. You move sideways, not into obvious centers. Side roads, not main highways. Residential streets, not commercial strips. Toward pre-planned locations, not the loudest building with the most cars. 3. Pre-pick your own fortresses. Before anything happens, maps. Small, solid buildings with few doors. Areas with line of sight but low foot traffic. Locations that are boring on the outside but useful on the inside. These might be certain storage facilities, certain industrial buildings, certain overlooked corners of your own property or town. You already know from other videos, some places become fortresses. Those are never the places everyone is emotionally pulled toward in panic. They are the places people normally ignore. The supermarket, gas station, hospital, official shelter, bridges, city center, malls, and neutral gathering spots will all pull the herd like magnets. You are not the herd. You cannot stop millions of people from following their instincts when SHTF. You can stop yourself. The next time you drive through your town, look at it with different eyes. Do not ask, where would I run to? Ask, where will everyone else run to, and how fast can I be somewhere else before they get there?